feel like a puppet on Sesame Street. Did you just knock me in the head?
No, I dabbed.
Oh.
Where are you from?
I'm from the rock and
Okay.
down the road. I live under that rock.
I've got the headphones on.
All right.
All right.
You got the headache-inducing pants.
I've got the best t-shirt.
Very true.
It's the best t-shirt.
This is the best t-shirt.
Behold. The true Captain
Wait,
America.
we should talk about it again after I clap so
Okay,
we can actually
yeah.
get it on.
Hey! Welcome to Rogues... Shut up.
I want to welcome them.
Okay, you
no,
welcome them.
you welcome. No, wait, I welcome them.
Okay.
Okay. Whoa, that was really loud. Our audio got super loud.
Okay, well, I welcome them since your audio is out of control.
Yeah, my audio is.
Should lower the
hot.
gain on that or something. On yours.
I tried.
Okay.
Okay, we're down.
Welcome to Rogues Rite.
Hey.
Today, we hope you're doing well and
Yeah.
you're not dead and that you're actually watching us because
Actually, I would kind of hope maybe if there was somebody dead that was listening to us, that would be kind of cool. I mean, like, if they were able to listen to us and they're dead.
no.
It'd be like a
Okay,
ghost listening to us.
Like if they exist and they're dead and they're like in
And they're
heaven
actually
or hell
listening to us.
and they're listening to us, they're wasting their time.
Well, I think if they were in heaven or in hell and they were listening to us,
Oh my goodness.
they probably know something we don't know. And there's actually a good reason
I
for
don't know
them
about
to be
that.
listening to us.
Oh, time travel?
What are we about to talk about?
Okay, well today we're about to talk about my limited knowledge of cryptocurrency
Uh-huh.
because it's starting to take off a little bit.
This is something
So
that I've wanted to look into
Okay.
for a while because
Yeah.
I know it's starting to take off, but I'm completely clueless about it. To me, it's just like seems like basically let's go buy poker chips.
I gotta say
the
that I
world.
understand after looking it up and like. So I know almost nothing about computer science.
Mm-hmm.
That's like one of my weakest points in life.
Yeah.
It's just like math and computer science.
You mean like
type stuff.
coding and stuff
Yeah,
like
coding.
that? Yeah.
I've tried to learn
That's
to code
something that I could never.
before. Not very hard. Like I've like watched YouTube videos and I haven't actually gotten the
Java.
chance to practice it because my computer sucks.
C++.
And I can't like download anything.
Right.
So I can't like download code blocks or anything like that, which I would need to use in order to learn the code. But so I've like watched YouTube videos and it's still magic to me. Like I don't understand how a hardware can store a software information. It just boggles my mind. I just don't understand.
It's almost
how it
like
works.
the mind-body connection between, like, the philosopher mind-body connection concept.
Yeah, it is very similar
for
to
a computer kind
But
of thing.
Other people actually understand this one,
That's
and I don't.
true.
So
My brother is one of those people.
who understands the computer mind-body connection.
Well, I mean, that's what he does for a living, so...
Yeah.
I'm guessing he has to have some kind of understanding of it in order to do it for a living.
Well, is he investing in Bitcoin?
Yes. And Doge.
I figured he'd invest
Yeah.
in those.
Not a whole lot. He's cautious about it, but he does invest in it.
All right.
And I'm
So
kind of
Doge,
like,
I wouldn't suggest investing in. Actually, I don't know. Say that.
I've heard more about Doge recently
Yeah,
than I
that's 'cause,
have about Bitcoin.
It's a meme. So this is a really okay.
Okay, so
Let's
if
talk
memes
about-
actually bring Dogecoin on.
Let's talk about cryptocurrency in general first.
Yeah, let's do that.
So
I would like to know, first of all, what kind of problem it's solving, and why is it a good thing? Why would we talk about it? You know?
okay, so specifically with Bitcoin, I forgot the inventor of the Bitcoin's name was Satoshi, I think his name is.
I can look it up.
So Satoshi,
We have the Googles.
we have the Googles. So Satoshi, his reason for making Bitcoin, at least from what I gathered from the internet in my limited study of it, was
Yep, Satoshi.
yeah,
Correcto.
Nakamoto.
Nakamoto.
Okay,
That is the coolest name.
Satoshi Nakamoto.
Can I just say first
yes,
of all,
that's a cool name.
Satoshi Nakamoto.
This guy didn't need to make a cryptocurrency. He could be a video game character.
He could be an anime. Satoshi Nakamoto. Like,
He's like
I'm
the
just
samurai.
like imagining the villain turning around. Satoshi Nakamoto, you found me. No, you found me.
So,
So,
I think, okay, so the reason he started this was because he didn't like that people were able to be slimy on the internet about their transactions. They were able to cheat and steal using, like, covering up their transactions on the internet. And so he wanted to create a system that no one would be able to cover up anything. Every transaction would always
be tracked.
Will it be public to everyone who's involved in the Bitcoin?
Oh.
So a lot of people, it's funny.
Oh, that's interesting.
So a lot of people who don't understand Bitcoin right now, they are investing in it because they think it's like a secret coin that you can use to like pay assassins with or something like that. Like the super right wingers who don't understand how it works, but they just think it's like an anti-government thing.
We're gonna get under the radar of the government kind of thing.
So it isn't. Yeah, we're gonna get under the radar. It's the opposite of that. It's literally the opposite of that. Everything is seen through it, and the reason he wanted to do that.
But globally.
Yeah, globally.
So it is kind of a stab at like
the global currency.
No, at governments.
Oh yeah, sort of.
Because there's like,
unless you're gonna make your own.
We're gonna get out of your currency
and technically,
that you created.
So this actually applies to what I was saying when we talked about internet countries, or nations. Actually, would be a better word for it.
Right.
Because a nation is a people. A country is like a plot of land.
Like land, yeah.
So, like internet nations could exist, I think, because of Bitcoin, but that's another story.
Okay.
I think Bitcoin and
well,
things
first you gotta tell me how it works before we can get into all of that. Because
so,
I'm lost.
Yeah, I'm still kind of lost on it too.
Who's lost out there? If you're lost,
but
I didn't put on Do Not Disturb.
Those twins.
Shut up, friends. I mean, I love you, friends. Okay.
Okay. So how?
Hey, I'm not embarrassed. Phil Vischer gets notifications in the middle of his podcast.
But you know who is embarrassed by that?
Who?
Sky Just Honey.
Okay.
Stop it.
So are you Sky and I'm Phil? No, we're Kira and Danny.
Yeah.
All right.
So ask.
I have a question to ask.
Yeah,
okay.
ask a question because
my question is, did you sleep well last night?
No. The answer is absolutely not.
Absolutely
I spent
not.
the entire night trying to figure out how this thing worked because I did not actually do any research until last night.
Oh, gosh.
Because I figured, you know what? It's just something you can look up on the internet.
You think that this comes out of you after you graduate college. It does not. It's always there. Yeah. You will always be this way.
So
cram before the test.
So the reason it's difficult to understand is because of how many people who don't actually understand it
are putting information out there
like me.
Like right now.
Yeah, like right
we're
now.
about to do.
So don't take anything I say as gospel, but I'm going to try to explain this to you so we can have a conversation about the potential of it.
Okay, did you happen to read Investopedia's information about it?
No, but I can explain what it is. So so Bitcoin is a part of a blockchain technology, and blockchain is basically there's blocks of information or code that that have two hashes and then the information itself coded inside of it. And so the hashes will basically date what the block is, and what the hash is it has its own hash, and then it has the hash that belongs to the block before it.
I just want hash browns now.
Okay, so a hash is kind of like a hashtag almost.
Oh, okay.
So or like a URL type thing.
Okay.
It's like a code in order to like locate something.
Gotcha.
And it's a hash is basically like the digital thumbprint or fingerprint of a piece of information. And so a blockchain is a chain of these pieces of information that each one of them has its own thumbprint, and then the thumbprint of the one before it encoded on it.
Oh my gosh.
And then the blockchain, I think how this works is for Bitcoin at least, is it's sent out to everyone who uses Bitcoin, the whole thing. So it's like a ledger or a history of every transaction made
Okay.
using this currency.
Gotcha.
So
So
it's almost like
basically, what it's doing is it's writing out transactions.
and so it that way, so it is possible to manipulate,
Right.
but
'Cause
they try to encode it, so it's very difficult to do that.
Right.
But it is also extremely easy, if you understand how it works, to figure out that it has been manipulated. And if you know someone who has like code that wasn't manipulated yet, you can fix it.
Okay.
And so it creates a
Almost like a self-protection
yeah.
kind of thing.
But the community works
So
together
it's
to do
extremely
that.
right. So it's kind of like very secure code.
Mm-hmm.
That's writing. That's like documenting every transaction. that
So
happens.
a blockchain by itself is not secure. So you
Yeah.
need to
But the way that they set
the way they set up the information within the
currency
blockchain
blockchain.
is it is sound.
Okay.
And they have
I'll trust
cool
your
strategies
word
for
on that.
well, yeah, you shouldn't. But they have really cool strategies on how they do it. So cool, I don't understand them because like I said earlier, I don't know anything about this sort of technology. Like I would know more about genetic manipulation
Wow.
than this.
Then Bitcoin.
Well, it's because I don't know anything about like coding. Like
Right. Coding.
I spent last night watching like hours of like JavaScript like tutorials on how to write blockchain and write cryptocurrency.
Okay, this is like completely unrelated, but all of this coding stuff is like food. Like hash and Java. C++ is like vitamin
Well, if you're going to
C.
spend like hours in a basement typing away at a computer, what are you thinking about?
Food.
Likely.
Yeah.
It's going to be food.
Coffee and breakfast.
Yeah.
Hash browns. So I'm guessing that probably like if another like version of coding comes out,
Like another version
it'll
of
be
coding.
something
You mean like
like
genetic coding?
Eggs Benedict. It'll be
CRISPR-Cas9?
CRISPR. Like bacon.
Yeah, crispy.
Oh my gosh, it's a
Crispy bacon.
conspiracy. The breakfast industry is actually trying.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Anyway,
Let me stop.
so the use of these cryptocurrencies is so that way you can create your own economy.
Okay.
In the same
Within
way
itself.
So, have you ever played like an app video game? I know the rest of your family likes them, but I don't know if you have or
I
not.
think I have.
Other than like
Yeah, you mean like a Candy Crush kind of thing?
yeah, not like Among Us, but one that has its
But
own
like-
little currency inside of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, yeah, like Candy Crush or Homescape or something.
So let's
like that.
imagine that you could use those currencies outside of that game. You can use it in other games, or you can use it to buy KFC. Like right now,
I can spend my beans to buy KFC.
yeah, you can spend your beans to buy chicken.
Oh.
At that point, it means that those beans have an actual value in the real world. Because technically, cryptocurrency is valueless, except for, okay.
I mean, it's just
So there's strategies for how they make it.
letters in a line.
They make it hard to duplicate and hard to manipulate. One of those strategies is they force you to mine it by making it. It's really funny because what they do is they make it so, in order to write a part of the blockchain, you have to mine it using a lot of electricity to use a computer to
So-
compute a math problem.
What you're saying is it's bad for the environment.
Yes, cryptocurrency is bad for the environment. I'll say that. For now, it won't be as bad as time goes on, I don't think, because it might be pretty good. Because if people only use the same currency, then we're in the realm of one world government type thing.
Yeah. Like if everybody
or
starts
like-
to use Bitcoin.
Or like a worldwide European Union type of situation.
Okay.
Right now, China has banned Bitcoin, so
Oh.
they've already like tried to knock themselves out of that.
Out of that, they don't want to be in that.
However, the Chinese are definitely
Hey.
mining Bitcoin.
Oh,
They banned it, but they're
gosh.
mining it. So there's a
That-
bunch of miners there who definitely
Wait,
have
like
Bitcoin.
authorized by the government, or
No,
like they're
well, maybe
like
that
criminals?
too. That too. They might
They
have
probably
authorized.
have the government's like, oh, we don't like this.
Oh, I can't imagine the
Some of
Chinese
this.
not mining it as the government,
Uh-huh.
so they can manipulate things in the future. I bet.
Oh,
I actually have a
yeah.
theory that most of what's going on with Bitcoin and Dogecoin is actually the governments of the world doing it, not people, not individuals.
You mean like as far as like the fluctuations, like it going up and down and stuff
No,
like
like
that, or
anytime it's going up, it's because the governments are like probably
mining it or
They're
something?
mining it so that way, in the future, they have the power still. So that
Right.
way, whenever the
They can
dollar,
actually hand out Bitcoin or Dogecoin
whenever the
or
dollar
whatever.
turns to the Doge, they have all the Doge.
Wow.
Kind of
I can
idea. That's my
understand.
conspiracy theory, but
Uh-huh.
because I can't imagine that this would actually just be from people like buying Dogecoin on Robinhood.
Unless, I mean, what would you say that GameStop was like legitly just the
I don't
GameStop
know.
thing was
So
legit
no,
just those people
so
or
the GameStop thing was a bunch of people on the internet influenced the actual people
right.
to put their money back into things.
Right.
So the money wasn't coming from the people. Mm-hmm. It was actually coming from the people convincing the corporate businesses not to rake GameStop. Which is funny. They did get
It is-
people did get
it is
enough.
pretty funny.
They did create enough mass in order to convince the companies to buy back in
Yeah.
because they had to
They had to because yeah.
in order to make money,
Right. Well, actually in order to
not lose money. Yeah.
to go completely bankrupt or something or
Yeah.
in
So
the red.
so they forced them. They forced their hand, but I don't think most of that money that GameStop has accrued actually comes from the people or the memers. So a similar thing might be true with Doge and Bitcoin. Actually, it could be even true, like. So with Bitcoin, I figured most of it was like people who were actually interested in Bitcoin for a while, and then over top of that, it was like corporate businesses who were doing it just because they needed to make money. And then there was also the possibility of the governments were mining it and buying in on it and selling it and trading it.
So
And then I think with Dogecoin, so Doge is different, by the way.
yeah.
So when you mine Bitcoin, you were rewarded with like a coin or two.
I'm still confused
But that's
about
getting
the mining thing. You've got to explain that to me a little bit better
So-
because it's like is that like actually creating more
Bitcoin?
cryptocurrency?
Yes, but
So
slowly.
when you mine
very
it-
slowly.
You basically are like crafting more code. It is what I'm kind of
You are creating more Bitcoin. So
You're creating more Bitcoin,
I
but
don't know. I shouldn't say Bitcoin. You're creating more currency. I think Bitcoin does reward their miners with Bitcoin. I don't know if they're creating Bitcoin, but they're maintaining the blockchain by mining it. But it's simulated like at a similar rate that gold is found in the earth.
okay. So it takes a bit of effort.
And
to
the way
mine
that
it.
they do that is the way that the mining works is they basically set up a complicated math problem that a computer has to solve in order to prove that it worked. In order to get the gold or the Bitcoin. So there's like Bitcoin rigs is what they call them, and they're just computers set up to calculate these math problems
Okay.
that other code has created for them to solve, and then by
Shoot,
solving
this
that,
is
they
extremely
get a
complicated.
they get a coin, and then that coin has value because everyone decided it has value.
Because they spent time on it.
That's true, and money, electricity too.
Yeah.
A lot of money and electricity to run these
Actual
rigs.
money. And that's how it works. I mean, that's why I was kind of like, when I think about it, I think of like poker chips. Is you give them actual money, and then they give you this chip that represents that money. And so basically, it's like an online thing. Like
Yeah, but
that.
the way it works is there's a ledger that has like a list of every transaction in Bitcoin that has ever happened in history, and everyone has it.
Right.
Now you can mess with it if you want to, but it just makes your ledger less valuable than everyone else's because it's not true.
Right. And people are more likely to notice that you mess with your ledger. They can tell because of how it's written.
Yep. If your stuff doesn't line up with everyone else's stuff, there's probably code in it that will try to match everyone's information to make sure that everyone's towing the line of true history. Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, this process of blockchain, when I was studying this, I was thinking one of the reasons I wanted to actually get into learning the code of how to do it was because it reminded me of our idea for the historians. And there might be some strategies we can pull from blockchain.
Like everybody keeping each other accountable kind of thing?
Yeah, but how that it does it, we might be able to do it with stories, potentially. I don't have my mind wrapped around how it works yet, so I can't tell you how we can do it.
I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if I have the brain capacity to actually, like, wrap my mind around it. But what I don't know is if I don't wrap my mind around how it works, am I going to understand how it helps?
Yeah, so
how does it help?
Help with what?
Problems.
Oh, so the problem of that they were solving with the coin thing is, well, I'll say this. There's the problem that Satoshi was trying to solve with his Bitcoin, and then there's the problem that is being solved with like Bitcoin and hopefully Doge.
And whatever cryptocurrencies are coming
So
out.
Doge is supposed to be a joke Bitcoin, like someone just made it to be funny, because he was making, or there was two people who made it, and they were making fun of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general. Mm-hmm. And then Elon Musk thought it was super funny, and so he decided that it was going to be his life's work.
Fault. That's all. Anytime like, there's a joke,
he's going to Mars, and he's going to make he's going to make this joke economy.
Anytime, like he almost made the birthday party into a thing.
Yeah, by accident. Like Musk can almost make the birthday party.
It's always his fault.
Then he like decided that he needed to pull back on that one because he was like, "Oh wait, if Kanye West wins, we could get in some trouble."
Yeah, this could be really messy.
Like we do not want
considering the fact that the president has to handle like foreign affairs and stuff. Okay,
like what would be worse? Someone with like manic bipolar disorder, or someone who has dementia?
I would say the manic bipolar, because like with the dementia, they're more pliable by other people around them, so they can have like they can have advisors that kind of help them make good decisions. That's like true. You need to do this, and they'll just be like, oh, okay. And if they have like manic bipolar and their advisors are like, hey, you should do this, and they just decide, I don't want to do that, I'm just gonna do whatever.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing that makes him like, a good artist.
Yeah.
Rather than a good like world leader
or
like leader of the free world, which I've heard him talk about.
I mean, he's a very good creator. Yeah.
But the saying
he's a creative.
to not taking no for an answer and not being bossed around helps with artists.
Yeah.
Because
because then
they can keep their childish spirits,
and they keep integrity in the content that they create. It's more, their sort of thing, and they keep that kind of the integrity.
I think he's done a lot of work
process
himself to make sure that he is in control of his own art.
Yeah.
Like I think he's his own financial guy now.
Is he?
Like he handles all of his finances himself.
Okay.
Which is like.
That's actually kind of impressive.
I don't know if he still does that. But,
yeah.
But he was.
And with how much he makes in all of the different things, all of the different pies that he has his fingers in, I would get super lost. So I have to give him props for that. But
but anyway, back to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. The problem that it is being the problem that was being solved, the one that Satoshi was trying to solve, was he was trying to make sure that transactions on the internet were sound and like they weren't hidden. Mm-hmm. And then what it has become is a thing that would grow in value that people can dump their cash into because they don't believe the dollar's going to last them.
Because of inflation.
Because of American dollars inflation. Because because of how long it takes the cryptocurrency to create more.
So is it mainly for Americans?
It's
for
mainly
American dollars?
No, it's anyone who doesn't trust their government.
I was going to say, can Greek people, like, they had
Yeah.
that huge inflation crisis, like if some of them had gotten into
could.
Bitcoin, that money, whatever, I don't know what the Greek currency is, but whatever it was, would have actually held its value in the Bitcoin format.
Yeah.
So, sort of. Kind of.
I don't know how that works because I thought that they used the euro, so I don't know.
Greek?
Yeah.
People? Yeah, I have no idea.
But I would say that it works for all people who are distrustful of of their own governments and their own economies.
Right.
Not just their governments, but their economies. They're uneasy.
They're uneasy about the direction that's headed.
They see the gas prices going up 20% and they go, you know what? I don't think that my money's going to be able to pay for gas one day.
Right.
And so they invest in something. Hopefully, they put that cash into something that has a real world value. With Bitcoin, it's the amount of money it costs to mine Bitcoin is the value of the Bitcoin.
I still don't know if I'm getting my mind around how it maintains the same value in spite of any
growing.
Sort of inflation.
So the reason it doesn't inflate is because it takes a lot of money in order to mine it. Or it takes time in order to mine it. So it takes as much time for them to get more Bitcoin as it does for the gold standard, for gold to come out of the earth. Mm-hmm. At least that was the simulation that was, I thought, or I heard was...
The comparison that was being given in a lot of different places.
So because of that, it's closer to the gold standard than the dollar is. Especially when governments decide on a whim that they're going to print 60% of all dollars in 2 years.
Okay, so wait, let me try to get my brain around this verbally. Basically, the dollar is so much easier to produce that it doesn't really represent gold as much as Bitcoin does because Bitcoin is more difficult to produce. Is that kind
potentially and maintain? I think the economy. And another thing is that so they print dollars, they send them out. They also print dollars digitally, in that there is digital dollars out there. But you don't know what it is. You don't know what the value is. You're just trusting the government and you're trusting the stores. Then the stores are trusting the government to tell them how much things are actually worth.
Which is what happens with the credit cards and all of that stuff. Online shopping.
Yeah. And so, sorry.
Ding, ding,
and
ding.
so when you...
ASMR.
There are some fads that I can't handle. I was just like, this is so stupid. Why? ASMR? I think that's dumb.
I don't know, man. It's soothing to me. It's certain ones. There's some that are not soothing at all, but certain kinds of ASMR. So what were you saying? I forgot.
So Doge comes in after the Bitcoin thing, and it solves... Oh, I already said that. The two problems being solved was the one, but now the problem that it is solving is the one that it is being used for right now, and that is a place to sink your money into to make sure it doesn't inflate, hopefully.
And now, Doge and Bitcoin are both doing that, or just Bitcoin?
Doge is serving a similar... Doge is like the gateway drug for the normies into... into cryptocurrency. Like, the only reason I know about this is because Doge became this thing, and now I'm paying attention.
Oh, man.
Which is
memes
actually
are
really powerful.
So freaking powerful.
Yeah, it is very powerful.
That is so weird how memes carry such weight. I don't think Bernie Sanders would have been a thing
I wouldn't
without
be surprised.
memes.
I wouldn't be surprised if Musk I don't think Trump would have been either. But
True.
I think
True.
Musk.
Oh man.
I think Musk might be thinking about this. I don't know if he is just goofing off or if he's actually like thinking.
He's actually trying to be a meme.
Well, not just to be a meme for himself, but he might be saying like
the meme.
If he can make cryptocurrency popular, then he might be closer to the moon. Because I actually think the way he thinks is he doesn't do anything unless it gets him to the moon. So
how is cryptocurrency going to get him to the moon?
Because if the world is decentralized, or no, the world technically would be centralized over Bitcoin. People would be more free. Money would be more free to move around. There wouldn't be as many taxes on transactions, so there wouldn't be any charges between like spending something in America or going to China. I guess not China, but going to like Japan
because
and
the
spending money
values
there.
wouldn't be so drastically different.
There would be no there would be no fluctuation if everyone's paying digitally through Bitcoin,
right?
And that's being maintained.
The value's the same everywhere. It's not like 200 won or whatever is like.
And there's no exchange rate.
Right.
Like you don't have to pay extra money in order to get money out of the bank.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can. If money can move around more, it creates
kind of like
a stronger economy.
The economic system of a bank the bank. This is taking
no,
out
because
banks.
there could be Bitcoin bankers.
Okay, so then wouldn't they start to try to find ways to get fees on stuff like that, so that they can make money? Because that's the only reason that it's there right now. Is so they
join
can make
insurance companies.
Oh, please don't.
But
I'm
like if you
already
really
so
want to rip
mad at
someone
that
off,
whole
be an
situation.
insurance salesman.
Seriously, insurance is the worst.
But
they used to have all those lawyer jokes.
Yeah.
Insurance agents need to be the new lawyer joke.
I think what's worse is fake warranty sales calls. God. They're the only people who call me. Ever.
Fake warranty.
Ever.
Your car warranty
no one
is
calls
expired.
Me. I've been trying to tell my parents I don't need a cell phone. They're like, you need a cell phone. I'm like, no, I don't. I need a computer.
I text you. I don't call you, but I do text you. So you need something to text me.
Yeah. Or use like Signal or something.
Yeah.
But or Facebook for now. Well, there's just
thoughts about that. What? Oh, we were blah blah blah.
Oh, so Bitcoin could be. So right now, there's already a social media company, platform that uses cryptocurrency as its own as a basis for its own internal revenue system, and that's called Mines. So Mines.com has a system in which they actually manipulate the cryptocurrency thing by they have a deal where the only way you can pay for ads on this platform is by using Mines tokens.
Oh, right.
And those Mines tokens can be bought. But I think the way they are trying to do it is that they have to be bought from individuals using Mines. So the way you can earn
get tokens from reading articles.
So you can earn you can earn tokens for liking things.
Yeah.
For sharing things, for disliking things, for interacting socially on this platform.
Okay.
And then you can sell those tokens to companies. So you can make money directly, and then Mines will take a cut of that.
Okay.
So Mines will make money. But
when you sell the token,
but what happens is you are the miner now. So by interacting with the website, you are mining the Mines coin token. And then other people can exchange with you for, I think the Ethereum is the one that they're using.
So where does the real money, like the money that we use right now, because in order for it to have any kind of value, there's got to be like a...
Yeah, what happens is advertisers, a company who wants to advertise on your... or on Mines in general, needs to accumulate Mines tokens. And I think, at least when I was first looking at it a couple years ago, the only way that you could do that was by buying it from the people who use Mines. Now there might be ways
so advertisers
more.
buy coins
Yes.
from them
From
with real
users.
money.
With real money.
So then users
Or with Ethereum, I think, and Bitcoin, and I think Doge. They've integrated
right there's
those
so
other
now
economies.
it's like, okay.
So because in the same way that you would
Holy
integrate
guacamole.
other economic things.
I want to look into this more because that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
So is Minds basically oh wow, how does that work?
It's
is
like,
Minds a cryptocurrency?
So Minds is like a Tumblr for Republicans. Or at least that's how it was when I was looking at it. In the same way that like Parler was the Twitter of Republicans.
Right.
But it's a lot more than that now. It costs money for you to download?
On the stock market.
Oh, this is the stock market. $2? Nice.
A share is $2.25.
Nice.
It's only down 2%.
How much is Doge?
How much is Doge? You're getting a call and you never get a call.
I know, but I think I know what it is.
Is it a warranty call?
Hi, this is Katie, and I'm giving you a call from the dealer service center. We recently noticed your car's extended warranty.
Yes.
Oh my god!
I was so close to like just putting it up to the microphone. I should have done that. I should have definitely done that.
Yes! I
been so
can't
funny.
believe literally how perfect that was.
It was. I was
so
going to
perfect.
It was from
Hi, this is
Polsky,
Katie.
Virginia is where it was from.
Polsky?
Polsky, I don't know where that is.
That's very Polish sounding, Polsky.
But
Oh, wow. They even have the dog.
yeah, it's on the coin.
Oh my gosh. This is literally a meme.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So,
no, how much is it worth on the stock market is what I want to know.
That's a good question. You'd think that they'd have that right at
I might
like
actually
top.
be able to find out real quick. Might be able to find faster than you. I don't know.
You probably could. Because you'd think that... Okay, what is Dogecoin worth right now?
Whoa.
It's funny that I can find the stock market value for Minds tokens before I can find the Dogecoins one.
Well, you looked at that one first.
Oh, I literally just typed in Minds tokens.
Yeah.
But when I type in Dogecoin, it's like... It doesn't seem to have a... What if I just type Dogecoin stock?
I think it's 61 cents.
Okay, so it closed at 58 according to Google Finance, Yahoo Finance.
Well, I'm just talking about currently right now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anyway, it looks like mine's doing better.
As of whatever time we publish this podcast.
Now, that wasn't the value of the Minds token, by the way. That was the value of Minds stock.
Yeah.
Which is different from that.
Which is different, yeah.
But I think, yeah, so Minds is a really neat website that I was exploring, and then I forgot my password, so I stopped exploring it.
Oh, stink.
And I never made a new account. Because,
wait, can't you just, don't they have a thing to help you, find your password?
Yeah, they do. I think it had something to do with Batman, and I completely...
You didn't know, your...
Yeah, I didn't...
Security question or something.
I didn't use my real name or whatever, and... I also...
So you just confused yourself.
I also, I made a second account to make that account. And then I forgot what the password was for that.
Oh, man.
So I made a separate
Several
Google
layers
account.
of short-term memory loss here happening.
So that was me trying to use the Minds thing. But that was a couple years ago when I was looking at that.
And trying to use Minds and not using your mind. But
Yep. Anyway.
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
I think the Doge thing is hilarious, but also not something I'm going to invest in because think it's dumb.
What do you think's gonna happen?
I think as soon as Musk puts it on the moon, it's going to skyrocket to like 1,000%, and then after that, no one will ever talk about it.
So Dogecoin is gonna be the currency of the moon colony.
So actually, I was thinking about so this is where it's interesting because I think that Bitcoin, Doge, Ethereum,
Golly.
all these different coin-based like coins, like these blockchain coins, they all have different functions and they work differently. They have different strategies for how they maintain their value and how they're mined. Mm-hmm. And they can all be used for they're different tools.
Yeah. Oh, dude, this article doesn't even have Doge on the list of popular
I have a feeling that most people are trying to make sure it's not going to exist.
It's not.
But
most serious, like, professional, like, finance people are like, get out of
the guys who made Doge are angry at how popular it is.
Oh, really?
Like, they're like, this joke is getting out of control.
It makes me think of Rich Mullins writing Awesome God.
Sort of like that, but it wasn't like a joke when he did that. Yeah. But what I'm saying is...
he did write it out of, like, I'm going to show everybody that I can write a very cheesy...
catchy song?
Christian contemporary song that'll be super famous, and it's, like, not like my style at all.
Anyway, they did it as a joke, and then it got out of hand.
Right.
And after it I say it anyway a lot in this episode. But, it got out of hand, at least
like
from their
the flame
perspective.
torch. Like the flame torch.
What?
What did Elon Musk made a flame torch?
Yeah. It's
not a flame torch. Yeah, it's not a flamethrower or whatever.
He sold all of them in like 5 days.
I bet Casey Neistat bought all of them.
Okay, maybe. I don't know. I think there was only like 6,000, so I don't know if he had all of them.
Okay, maybe not all of them.
But I think so the reason I think this is really interesting is because it plays into that topic we were talking about with internet nations. And how they would work. How would they work and how would they spawn? And I think they're going to spawn from this idea of cryptocurrencies and like what is fueling them. Mm-hmm. So Facebook, if it starts using a cryptocurrency as its like only, if Facebook is still around by then, but like if it starts using its cryptocurrency as the only money in which you can make transactions with Facebook, it's going to change the name of the game. Like people who subscribe to Facebook and use Facebook will be part of the Facebook nation.
Because they will just use Facebook coin or whatever.
Yep. Now people who use Mines will be part of like the Mines nation through Ethereum using so they're part of the like Ethereum verse.
Gotcha.
So like the universe of Ethereum.
So wait, could you have like, let's say there's a couple different like platforms like Mines and Josmo.com and icecreampuff.com, and they all use Ethereum. And even though they're like their own websites, they all kind of would be in the same nation, but they're like states or something kind of thing.
Yeah, it wouldn't be states, but it would be like they have their own.
They're like, I'm in the Mines state, so I use that the most, or would it all just be Ethereum nation?
So what I'm getting at is it probably will all work together to create the infrastructure, the digital infrastructure for people to find all of their identity on the internet in one place or another. And wherever they find their identity most is going to be their nationality.
Wow.
It doesn't matter where they are geographically at that point.
Yeah.
And I think what's going to fund that venture of these companies is going to be cryptocurrency. Like cryptocurrency is going to facilitate that existence, because right now you are nationally an American because you pay with American dollars and you give taxes. So render to Caesar unto Caesar, and render what to God is
American
to God.
Laws.
But the only reason you do that is because they protect your money and make sure that no one kills you.
So I can trade and have food and live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can trade and have food and live
With a cryptocurrency.
cryptocurrency eventually. Like at least you can buy
Eventually.
KFC with Dogecoin now.
Wow.
KFC is accepting Dogecoin as a currency.
Are you sure it's Dogecoin?
Yes, Doge. That's
They
the joke.
are accepting
they put it on,
Dogecoin.
it's like in an advertisement for KFC.
Oh
They're accepting
my
Doge.
gosh, I'm dead.
Yeah, they're getting on the. They're riding the meme.
Crazy.
So this is another thing. The meme
then-
economy is going to be something really special, and this is why I think Doge.
Meme lords are a legit thing.
So
They're gonna be the lords.
I think
If you can create the best memes, you can influence a bunch of people. You can have serfs that subscribe to you.
That's basically
because
what
of your
I'm wearing
memes.
right now.
You are a serf for Jordan Peterson.
I'm a Jordan Peterson simp.
If you didn't notice his shirt, it's probably the coolest shirt
Says,
we've ever had on this
It's
podcast.
because we've
We've only
I
had
wear
4
flannel,
episodes.
and I wear flannel.
Oh, yeah. Well, flannel's pretty cool. But so if you didn't listen to the nations, the podcast where we talked about online nations, you want to give like a brief little, like in a nutshell,
so-
what that conversation was?
I think someone could infer from what the rest of it was.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of,
I imagine that one day
Maybe they're
it's
lost, though.
possible that instead of having your patriotic identity being found in the nation of America or in the flag of the Communist People's Republic of China,
Right.
that people find their patriotism in where they subscribe, like, and where they do their social existence.
Their social,
Be it
like
Instagram.
PewDiePie.
No, like
PewDiePie's comment section.
yeah, if your community is like if all entirely surrounded by the cult of PewDiePie, then PewDiePie is your king, and he's the king of the PewDiePie nation.
And the lords
And that
are
only
those that make
functions
memes
on the
about PewDiePie.
But that only functions on the planets of YouTube. Like, there's going to be other digital planets. Or worlds, other entire worlds that have their own.
Why does this scare me so much? Thinking about everything becoming virtual, like it makes me think of that TV show. Like, did you ever see Black Mirror?
I've seen some of their episodes, yeah.
That for some reason, like it's scary. Like, I don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's like I'm already super comfortable with technology, and a lot of my life is actually virtual.
I mean, it's hanging off of my face right now. So
Right. So like everything is going virtual, but there's a part of me that's like I don't want to be like completely virtual. So it's like it's like we're gonna have virtual planets, virtual countries, not countries, but nations.
So this is different though. So a nation is different from like a country. So
Right.
a virtual country would be like, I'd imagine if you had something similar to something more similar to Ready Player One.
It's like a virtual reality type thing.
Yeah,
and you
where a
actually
virtual
kind of, like,
nation
you
is
can
about your
create
nationhood.
landscape within the right.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
a virtual
Or
nation
like
is more about who you are.
Final Fantasy or type thing or something like that. That those game like Civilization or Roller Coaster Tycoon that are kind of like
Simulators?
Yeah. And
Okay,
it's
so
like you're creating a land.
Well, no. I mean, like, if you're going to have a digital country, you would have to do it in a virtual reality.
Yeah.
Like VR.
Okay.
If you're going to
But like a civilization, like a virtual reality civilization.
Yeah. Like a SimCity, but it's like virtual reality.
Right.
Which they already have things like that. There's games like that.
Yeah.
But that's like for fun. And it's not
reality. It's
and
not
it's not
influencing
affecting people's lives
Yeah.
enough for it to be reality. Like,
Yeah.
if someone comes into someone's house while they're sitting on their VR and they gun them down and take all their crap, like, the police of the VR nation or the VR country is not going to come rescue you.
Yeah.
Or prosecute those people.
Right.
The police of the country, the physical country in which that happens in, will
Right.
do that.
Right.
But
Right.
what I'm talking about is with digital nations is different from digital countries. A digital nation is more about an ethnic group and a philosophy and a mentality that is unique to your people group and that could one day be taxed. And in some ways it is taxed already. So there are already people groups on the internet and communities on the internet that pay taxes to an overlord who like decides that he's going to tell them what's going on in the real world. Like Ben Shapiro. And the Daily Wire or whatever. Is that the Daily Wire? Is that his thing?
Yeah, the Daily Wire.
So like Ben Shapiro and his group of goons, like
subscription.
The subscription people, but the people who feast off of his subscription,
Right.
they are the lords or the kings of that country, that nation, that digital nation, and they're
the ones
already
who give him money.
No. The ones who are making the content
Are the Lord.
are
Okay,
the
so
kings.
like he just hired Candace Owens.
Yeah, so she's like a
And she works for
a queen
the Daily
of
Wire.
this Daily Wire empire that Ben Shapiro like, and the other Jew, what's his name?
Yeah, Andrew Clavin?
No, he's not a Jew.
He's not I didn't think so. Michael.
No, the PragerU. Prager. Dennis Prager.
Okay.
So,
he's a Jew?
yeah.
I didn't know that.
I think he says that he's a Jew in every one of his videos. I don't know how many of you've seen.
I don't typically watch that.
Anyway,
PragerU stuff.
they are collecting taxes from their community.
Their subscription base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
They don't call it taxes. It's just different terminology.
It's just what it is.
Yeah.
And they are producing a content that makes these people entertained, feel like they're informed. It makes them comfortable. It puts them, and so
they base life decisions off.
Yeah, they base some of their financial and life decisions based off of this stuff, and it's part of it becomes part of their identity. The people who pay for this stuff, and people who just watch from YouTube's side of things, it's part of their identity too. It shapes them,
even if they are not subscribed.
Even if they disagree with everything, but they continue to follow what's going on in the community.
Are they serfs of that nation?
They are
Because,
interacting with the
they're
community.
interacting.
They're illegal aliens.
That's what I was like.
And so,
if you just watch on YouTube, I mean, if there's like ads, if the video is monetized or whatever, you could be subconsciously helping.
But
whatever.
what I'm saying is that these communities can kick people out of their communities. So these digital nations
right now
can kick people out. Yeah, if they decided that they didn't want you in, they'd stop taking your taxes or your subscription, and they'll block you.
Yeah.
So if you're like throwing child porn in their comment sections or something like that, they'll get rid of you because that's illegal and terrible.
Yeah. Right.
So, so they actually do operate with their own law, their own policies and their philosophies, and they operate like a nation, like a people organizing themselves in a way that produces a thing of value. And
the thing I still can't.
They have governance.
Right, but the thing I still can't wrap my mind around with that whole concept of
what they don't have right now is their own currencies.
Right, but the thing that I can't get my mind around is being a citizen of a single nation, because right now what it is like you can subscribe or you can be a part of like a bunch of different
whoever's taxes you're willing to pay for, you're gonna get their stuff.
So like the way that nations are right now is it's very hard to be a citizen of more than one nation. So it's a very lengthy process.
This is how you could actually do it when it comes to like the defense thing.
Or like, what if you want to leave the nation?
Well,
it's super easy on the internet. Just leave the nation.
None of this matters.
Stop giving you money.
That never matters because
why?
Because they don't care who's in or who's out. They just care who's giving them money.
But then how do you enforce any sort of like ethical code or like?
Oh, they care if people are breaking their policies. So they have their policies, which are law.
Like, let's say
if you don't follow it,
want to break the policy.
Yeah,
you're like, I'm fine. I don't want to be a part of your nation anymore. Then you have these like
no, even if you want to be part of the nation, you get kicked out.
These nomads that just kind of like hop around and wreak havoc everywhere.
Yeah, the internet trolls is what they're called.
Yeah, you have to like. How do we fix that?
So that's what Twitter is trying to play with. No, it already is a problem. Twitter's already
right.
trying to solve that problem by banning everyone who's a troll.
Mm.
Or everyone they see as a troll.
They see as a troll.
That just means someone who has a sense of humor they disagree with. Or just a sense of humor.
Right.
So,
Watch out, Twitter. We are coming for you.
but
Actually, everybody's coming for Twitter.
yeah. But they have a hard problem, and that is how do you handle these trolls that are going around wreaking havoc, these digital nomads.
Right.
I was just thinking
They
about
kick
this
them
though,
off.
and how the moment we'll get to actual digital nations are when we have subscription services to private police or private
Like-
mercenaries. So there would be internet mercenaries.
You mean like your own, like bodyguards kind of thing?
Or no, not just your own bodyguards, but like a subscription service to a military that operates internationally.
Oh.
So if you have a large company on the internet,
Now I'm liking this.
no, this is terrifying.
Okay, but I like it in the sense of like a fantasy fiction novel. I feel
Yeah,
like it's a
that is cool.
very cool premise.
So let's imagine.
But,
Actually,
yeah,
this already
reality-
exists. This 100% already exists.
Okay,
It's
okay.
called Antifa.
Okay.
So it's
went
already
there.
a thing.
We did
So
just
Black
go
Lives
there.
Matter and Antifa are already borderline like they don't have a subscription service, but they have ways of being bailed out and their money is being paid for. The leader of Black Lives Matter has like a mansion like
from like donations.
from donations, which means she's a warlord is what she is.
Okay.
And she actually is an internet warlord. Like
So-
people have
so she
died under
gets-
her influence.
Right.
Like I think it's 26 people in 2020 died because of the Black Lives Matter and Antifa riots.
Okay.
So she is actually a warlord.
How do you know she's a part of Antifa though?
Well, it
That's
doesn't
all,
matter.
like-
Black Lives Matter was involved with the same things.
Right. Okay.
And
I mean that's all just like
and it doesn't matter that
derived
it's, so here's the thing,
connection.
it doesn't matter if it's an organized organization. It is a gang. They wear the same clothes, they follow the same ideologies. So they're the same internet nation. And they have a militia.
a leader.
It might be
who-
a stupid one, but and they're not too stupid. They're actually pretty brilliant in how they nag other people rather than actually fight.
Right. Do they pay taxes? Do they like subscribe to
Yeah, whenever anyone donates money to a BLM
or
thing,
do people donate money to Antifa?
no, well,
That's
I
not
think
like an
there was a
legit
time where
organization that you can
there was a time in
you can bring resources to
Louisville?
a meeting or something.
okay, so in Louisville, I think they were asking business owners to give them money to keep their businesses from being burned down
Oh wow.
at one point, I think.
We can look it up.
But that was a long time ago.
Who reported on it? Do you remember?
I don't. But so when that happened, that's a tax. They're taking a tax out and they're enforcing their I think Chaz and Chop did similar things.
It does sound familiar.
But the Chaz Chop, that was Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
They actually took a city block
Right, they took a city
for
block.
days. Like it was there for days.
Saying he was paid to protest at the cap. That's not the thing that we're.
Yeah, it's just I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but what I'm saying is that we're on the verge of this already being a thing. The difference between like
Even if it
what
isn't
I'm talking
happening,
about,
this isn't something that couldn't happen.
yeah, the
It
difference
may not
between
be happening with Antifa.
the difference between what I'm talking about and Antifa and Black Lives Matter, I'm just gonna call them the same thing because at this point they are.
Okay.
They weren't always, but they are now.
Not everybody who is Black Lives Matter though is Antifa.
Yeah, they are. If they yes,
No, because I have friends that
yeah, and they're
are-
part
that-
of the Antifa group.
they don't think they are.
Well, they're wrong.
There's some people that are ignorant.
Do they subscribe to like the mentality and the ideals of the Black Lives organization.
What's the mentality and the ideals of Antifa, in your
Oh,
opinion?
well, theirs is anti-fascist.
Right.
They're anarcho-communists.
Okay.
And Black Lives Matter are exactly the same thing.
So, not necessarily.
Yeah, they are.
No, because...
According to their own documents, they are anarcho-communists. And super feminists.
So then
apparently.
there are people in the Black Lives Matter movement that don't realize that.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't realize what Nazis are doing. If you're still killing Jews, you're a Nazi. Or even if you pay taxes to the Nazis, you're a Nazi. So, like, it doesn't matter what you know. It matters what you do.
Okay.
You are
so what
you do.
What if what they're doing is not actually supporting BLM?
Well, do they
even
wear
though
their clothes?
they put BLM.
Do
on
they
something.
wear the Nazi swastika on their shoulder? Then they're part of it.
Well, I feel like there's a lot. I feel like that's not really fair because there are people that wore the Nazi swastika that were actually had a good heart and didn't subscribe.
Well, as soon as one of these Black Lives Matter people starts like trying to keep people from burning down buildings and like they're like viciously fighting the people who are burning down buildings, then that person will be like the rebel that we're talking about.
So
but I don't know about your friends.
I've seen
I don't know
those
if they
kind of
actually
people
do that.
That will encourage people in the Black Lives Matter people to not.
It's not the same thing.
Well, they won't be at the protests that are burning buildings down.
Well, that is because they're not actually at the protests.
They're at peaceful protests.
Well, yeah,
they're at the morning protests.
I've been to like the peaceful Black Lives Matter protests.
Right.
But what I'm saying is the organization, if they subscribe to it, whether they know it or not, they are working with the monsters. And so it doesn't matter if they like what the words mean. Mm-hmm. If they're working with the organization as a whole, who believes these things, and are doing these things, resulting in more deaths than any police shootings have actually happened in the past years. Mm-hmm. Just from their handiwork, they are the problem.
Okay, so
or a problem.
That's your idea. That's
an objective fact.
No, because I wouldn't say everybody that was
everyone who was working with
regime,
the Nazis was responsible for what the Nazis were doing.
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, I would
say some of them
true.
were just there to keep their own skin on or to keep their family safe, or were even trying to like dismantle it from the inside.
Yeah, this existed, but
I'm just saying.
Would it be better to just die fighting?
Maybe in your opinion.
Maybe.
Maybe that's your strategy, but other people have different strategies.
Yeah.
So.
Like, do you want to live in a... So here's another thing. As things move on, and we get to the point where we're pushing closer and closer to this, like, super authoritarian world, which is coming. Unless we have a philosophical, like, revolution.
Yeah. Which I actually see the...
Seeds of it?
Yeah.
Yep.
I can see that, kind of like bubbling beneath the surface.
Well, I'm actually concerned because, like, the Nazis were right-wing. So, like, imagine if, like, the right-wingers... Like, I met people at some of these protests, these right-wing protests, that... just seeing them, I thought, I don't want to be standing next to this person.
Right.
I don't know if I want to be here anymore. I want to go home.
They have the same philosophy that...
Like, they have
Hitler had.
Not quite, but similar. And so... I would say in that situation, I was standing with them. And I shouldn't have been. Maybe. Or maybe I was there for my own reasons. Protests are big things, and everyone's an individual.
Right, and everybody's kind of got different...
No, everyone is an individual, but the thing is, if you do what...
You're a good cult follower. Everyone is an individual!
You're all individuals!
We're all individuals! We have to think for ourselves.
We must think for ourselves. Anyway... So, the people, your friends who are part of the Black Lives Matter movement, who for some reason haven't figured out that they're working for anarcho-communists.
Because they don't watch the same content you're watching.
But do they watch the stuff that that they're being put out?
They watch
or
propaganda.
Their propaganda, yeah.
Right.
And they haven't read it? Or they just don't understand it?
No, it's
are they journalists?
It's packaged up in a pretty nice little package that makes it look like something.
Are these your journalist friends?
No, they're not.
Oh, okay. Are they college friends?
Some of them.
Yeah.
Some of them are from theater and stuff like that.
Yeah, theater people would definitely be involved in this sort of thing.
It's very exciting.
It is exciting, yes.
So
burning things down is quite exciting, I'm sure.
That's not what they're a part of, though.
I know, I'm just...
There's a lot of people that believe that they're a part of the Black Lives Matter movement that just want, legit, Martin Luther King Jr. style...
That already exists.
Reformation.
That hasn't not exist my entire life.
No, the thing is, they don't think that.
Well...
So they go out there and they peacefully protest for systemic change because they believe...
Change that has already happened.
Well, they believe that it hasn't happened.
So it's like the feminists who still think they need to be around.
Kind of, yeah. I would say that it is a very similar problem. But the thing is, so in the same way that I would say I'm a feminist in the traditional sense of the word feminism, like I believe that women should have the right to vote and the right to be
Martin Luther
treated
King would not
as
have...
capable of doing the things.
So here's the
that
difference.
They can
Martin
do.
Luther King would not have touched Black Lives Matter with a 10-foot pole.
Well, knowing what you know, try to put yourself in somebody else's shoes.
Yeah, I have.
Who has been indoctrinated and doesn't know what you know. They have only They've only seen this much of what's actually going on. No, with the BLM.
Okay.
The BLM is not showing. BLM's going to do the best to not show the ugly sides of their face, right?
No, so it doesn't matter,
see
though,
this
Kira.
much. It does matter.
No, it doesn't matter at all. Like,
if
the
you
Nazis
don't know
had their propaganda too.
Exactly. If you're ignorant, then you don't know.
So which Nazis do we kill and which Nazis do we not? If we're gonna be the Americans saving the Jews in these situations,
Americas didn't kill a ton of Nazis.
Yeah, they did.
And after they.
No, I'm talking I'm talking about in the war.
They took them and they treated them like human beings.
I'm talking about in the war. During the war, when the fight is happening,
yeah.
Who do you gun? Like, who do you gun down and who do you not?
So the people that are on the battlefield. But the thing is, a lot of the people that
everyone at the protests.
No, the people I'm talking about, they're not on the battlefield.
Then they're not part of the movement.
They're back in the trenches.
No, they're not. There's no in the trenches unless they're sharing memes or something like that. Like, if they're considering that the trenches, like, or if they're giving money to the organization, which I think is worse because they don't have to.
I never said anything about them giving money to the organization. Okay. You can say #BLM on your social media posts,
and then you're in support of the organization.
Then you're in support of the organization without knowing a single thing about what the ugly side of the organization actually is.
Yeah, if you said "Hail Hitler," you're a Nazi. Like, it doesn't matter
but the thing is, at the time of that happening, a lot of people didn't know. A lot of people didn't know the ugly side of what was happening in the concentration camps. So you think that the poor mom who said "Heil Hitler" because she thought she was being a good German,
and had her house destroyed in the middle of a war to stop it, deserved it? Yes.
And knew absolutely nothing about what was going on in the concentration camps. She just, I'm a good patriot.
Let me speak. Yes, I think anyone, even if she was trying to stop it, her house deserves to be destroyed in war in order to stop it as casualties.
Do you think she deserves to be grouped in with all of them as as supporting that ideology when she has absolutely no idea what the ideology actually is?
If
she's not actually supporting it. So if you don't know what an ideology is, you can't support it. So
you can.
So when she finds out what the ideology is,
you can.
No, listen. When she finds out what they're actually doing in the concentration camps, and she no longer supports that, she says, "No, that's not what I thought I was supporting. I don't support that anymore."
She's gonna have to say a really hard.
Would you hold her accountable for her ignorance?
Yes.
Even though nobody was giving her that information, she didn't have any way to get that information.
No, what do you mean by hold her accountable? Do you think I'm gonna string her up? No. What I'm saying is that.
That's what I'm saying with some of these people that
support... So let me speak for a second.
Yeah.
So we can clear this out because you haven't let me talk about this without
Well,
interrupting
no,
me.
because you keep
Wait.
saying things that I'm not saying.
So, no, what I am saying is that a woman or anyone who was in Nazi Germany who paid taxes and just did their thing to get by, maybe didn't even know anything bad was happening. Let's give them all of the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
But they lived in Nazi Germany, and they fought for this. They were working as good citizens, and then the Americans show up, and they bulldoze everything in order to stop the Nazis, including this person's house and their home, maybe even their own lives.
Yeah.
Got wrapped up in the situation. Yes, they deserve that to have happened to them because they were not informed. They did not get informed of what was going on, and they did nothing to try to stop it. Even if they did try to stop it, it wasn't good enough.
That's not what I'm saying, though. What I'm saying is, would you actually,
for instance, earlier to answer your question,
to have the same ideology?
Yes, I would actually do.
Even though they have no idea.
If they have no idea what it is,
how can you have an ideology when you don't even know?
Let me explain. If you're paying taxes, you're doing the ideology. You're paying for the government to do the thing. To kill the Jews. So if you're even if you don't agree, even if you don't know what's happening and you would have never agreed with it, if you're paying taxes for it, if you're paying for it, your influence is directly causing it. That's why I don't like the idea of paying taxes while we are paying for abortions. It's because it's being you're being an influence that causes this thing to happen by allowing it and by not doing everything you can to get in the way of the thing happening.
I don't think that it means that you have that ideology.
No, you
just
support
because
it.
you
It doesn't matter.
it
You do
doesn't
support
mean
it.
you have it.
It doesn't matter though. What you do is the only thing that matters in life.
Well, I would disagree with that too.
No, what you do is who you are. You only are what you do.
To other people.
No, to yourself.
No.
So you think you're more than somehow you're more than what you've accomplished?
Yeah.
No, you have potential to be more, but if you never accomplish those things, you're never those.
That you do. I think that you are more than what you do.
You can be double-minded and have different ideas that you disagree with, ideas that don't agree with each other.
Yeah.
That's obviously true. But what I'm saying is that those things don't actually matter in the grand scheme of things when it comes to what is moral and what is not moral. What matters is what you actually do with your time on Earth. It doesn't matter how you feel about Nazis. It matters about whether or not you were paying to help them or you're paying to stop them. It doesn't matter how you feel about Black Lives Matter or what you know about Black Lives Matter. It matters if you're on their side or you're against them. If you're working for them or against them. Let's say the Black Lives Matter people turn out to be the good guys in history. And we're the bad guys. Or I'm the bad guy. I don't know about you. 'Cause I do disagree with them.
Right.
Black Lives Matter as a statement. I was
going to say, because we don't necessarily actually disagree with the concept of...
I disagree with every concept that the organization...
Equal. The organization has put out different concepts.
I disagree with everything they say.
Started as. It's different from what it started as, though.
Is it?
Yeah, because it started out as... we want equal rights for all races.
Assuming that wasn't already the case. It already started based off a lie.
I think that it was started in Martin Luther King Jr. It wasn't called the Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, but that wasn't the same thing.
But it's the same concept.
No, it's not.
It was.
No, because it actually had a reason to exist then. It doesn't have a reason to exist now. Now it could have a reason to exist. Now I would say
that's what I'm saying.
So I would say something like Black Guns Matter. Because there are people who aren't allowed to have guns in inner cities, basically because the cities are racist and these people are black.
Okay.
And they can't afford to pay all the tax stamps or whatever and go through the loops of being able
a gun
to protect themselves unless they do it illegally, and then they get in trouble for it. Which it shouldn't be possible for someone to get a gun illegally in our country because of how the laws are written. Mm-hmm. At least the law that is written. So technically they are being persecuted by the law for being black. and that is racist. But
Yeah.
but that's a gun control situation, not a police brutality situation.
Okay.
I actually think there would be less brutal police brutality if everyone was armed, and the police knew everyone was armed, and everyone was like, everyone's kind of like we can all kill each other right now. Let's not.
Well, that's a whole nother concept right there that I would want to argue about. But I mean, we're already arguing about like 6 different things.
Okay, so let's go back to the internet mafioso.
Okay, so wait, we're just gonna completely brush past the fact that. Never mind. Okay, yeah, we'll just completely brush past that.
What fact?
That you don't think the BLM movement started out with an actual legit, like, we need to fix some of these systems that are racist. You just talked about a system that's racist.
Yeah, but they're not addressing it at all.
And now it's the movement has changed. They have different ideologies.
No, they've never addressed that situation. But the issue that they do try to address is police brutality against black people.
Yeah.
When police are just as brutal towards everyone, it's just American police. They're not as brutal as like police in any other country, except for like England might be a little bit softer.
Or the Netherlands.
Or Netherlands, I don't know. They might have brutal police, but just nice prisons. But like the police brutality is not actually a problem in our country. I'm going to say that. It's not a problem. Like, compared historically.
I just don't
look at
see
history.
How you can't think that...
Look at history and how people used to interact with each other throughout all of history. We're doing good.
A movement called Black Lives Matter could not have started out with the ideology of, we want these lives to matter as much as these lives.
Because they assumed that they didn't already, and that is the lie that it's based off of.
But that's not... a lie, because there were things, there were issues, there was systemic racism.
No, but they're in our country for the most part since the Martin Luther King thing, and there are racists. They do exist.
Yes,
but they're not in control of everything unless you're talking about Joe Biden. They are not actually. There are racist situations like the gun control thing I brought up. Mm-hmm. And the housing, the redlining thing happened in 19...
Right, but it's even if that changed, it set up an entire...
Yeah, but there's nothing you can do to stop that. There isn't. There isn't. There isn't a thing you can do. If you already said it,
but you can change stuff to try to readjust.
No, you don't do that. You just let people do what they can.
When you get off caliber, you recalibrate.
No, a person... Okay. Someone who starts behind in a race might not have the chance to win the race, but they have the chance to at least finish the race. Everyone has a chance to finish the race, even if they're started behind. That's one of the things with those, like, analogies where, like, you have people running a race and the white guy gets to run ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, let's say that happened because they had a bunch of gunpowder and their countries in Europe were more developed than Africa and they were jerks, and so they made slavery a thing.
Okay.
So the black guys start behind. At the end of it's possible, it's true that it's more likely that the white guy's going to win if he has like an eternity ahead of this other kid to run, but the black person can still finish the race. They might not win, they might not be the richest person in the world, they might not be Donald Trump, but they could be Barack Obama. So like it's...
But what if the white person decides, I'm gonna slow down so that we can end up kind of having the same...
Because the world is competition. Capitalism is a competition, and they're not going to slow down, and we should never expect them to. And we don't need to play fair like that. Just make sure the rules are fair now. We can't make up for what happened in the past.
Okay, I think I understand where you're coming from now a lot better.
Yeah.
Even though I wouldn't necessarily agree with you.
And so the Black Lives Matter stuff from when
the rules of the game are fair now.
And when
even if they started unfair.
Yes, and it doesn't matter that they started off unfair because they are fair now. And that means that Black Lives Matter started all a lie.
Just to make it fairer.
No, they shouldn't hold themselves back.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're not being fair. They're being patronizing.
Okay.
Does anyone want to win to a patronizing?
But I think where people would disagree
opponent?
is that the rules of the game were fair. I think that
They are fair now.
I think there's still some things.
Like the gun situation, yeah, because
I think
but
there's
that's
still some things that you
but
can
that's not a
fix to
race
make the
situation.
rules
That's like an
more fair.
inner city situation. It's because white people in cities can't have guns either. So like it's just where black people tend to gather is in these cities because
but saying
that has to do with history
that
as
Black
well.
Lives Matter didn't start with a legitimate
Migrations.
reason, I don't think is a fair statement.
No, I say it started based off of this lie, and that is that it was ever not the case in their lifetimes. Mm-hmm. Like in the lifetime of the organization, Black Lives Matter.
When did Black Lives Matter actually start?
I think it started right before those Baltimore riots from when we were young. 2013?
2013.
Yeah. So I think that was in 2015 when the... was it with the Trayvon Martin?
It was with Trayvon Martin.
So Trayvon Martin, that situation, so the Black Lives Matter stuff came out of that. And now police brutality, whenever it does happen, because it does happen, that's terrible. But as a systemic issue, it's not a race thing. Like white people are brutalized all the time too, like by cops.
Yeah.
It's not unique. Now I would say it shouldn't happen to anybody unless there's like a legal cause for like the brutalization, like the person resisting arrest and in certain situations.
Okay.
Because the cops need to arrest people who are committing crimes. Mm-hmm. So if the person's resisting arrest, you gotta beat them into the car. It's just how things are. We have tasers, but those can like kill people in the long run too, like giving people heart attacks in their later ages.
They don't necessarily always work.
And they don't necessarily always work. So like at the end of the day, the cops have a hard job, and honestly, it's probably very easy for them to be morally dubious because of the kind of authority that's given to them.
Have. Right.
But
and I'm sure there are cops that have abused that.
But I would imagine that it should be a lot more because of how human nature works. How it should happen more often because of how human nature works than it does, which means we're doing well and that doesn't mean we can't do better.
Okay,
it just
all
means we're
of
doing
this
well.
To say what?
Oh, that in 2013 it wasn't a problem.
And so that BLM
is based off a lie.
shouldn't exist.
BLM is based off a lie.
Okay.
And so that's what the statement I was making.
Okay.
And so it was never not true.
I don't necessarily want to go back to
in
the
2013.
fact, but that people heard Black Lives Matter as a statement and subscribed to that idea, maybe even based off of a lie, but in ignorance and insincerity.
But there
still
are
people that are
with the people who are
in
things down.
sincerity with a cause that is actually
no. I think they're
cause.
sincere. People who are going to like risk their time in jail for their cause are sincere about the cause. They just have different causes. And I would actually say they're the same cause. It's just one person's being more sincere than others. The people who are burning everything down are sincerely believe that Black lives don't matter in this country, which is why they're so upset.
Yeah.
And so they do all this crazy stuff. Mm-hmm. Now there are some that are just looting and stuff, but there are also those who actually do care. Who are
sincere, yeah.
And they are also doing these things.
Mm-hmm.
And they think they're making history. The moms against hate or whatever in Portland.
Yeah.
Like they were totally supporting the Black Lives Matter war on the police. Like,
right.
They were trying they supported burning a building down with people inside of it. Like that was people were trying to do that to the Portland police in the Capitol, not the Capitol, the police station. Mm-hmm. They were trying to burn down the police station with human beings inside of it. And the moms of Portland or whatever, I forgot what the organization was, the Moms Against Hate or whatever it was, they were there to help it. They might not have been there with the intent of that happening, but they were there to help it.
Okay, I'm not speaking to those kind of people. I'm speaking to people who get on the internet
Yeah, and they
and hashtag
have the
BLM
yeah
and they don't
same
know.
thing. It's the same thing.
I really don't feel like you can
It,
hold
it
that.
is the
but
same thing. Now,
I think we're just gonna have to
I
agree
would
to
say it is
disagree on
also the
this thing.
media's fault for not sharing that information
Right,
with people.
that's what I'm
But
saying.
it's-
Is it's more of the media's fault
No.
and it's more of
Everything a person does is
Where-
always their fault.
so they're not getting a big enough perspective.
And it's their fault that they're not getting
And
a
it's
big
their
enough
fault that they're not
perspective.
getting.
I have
Okay.
this perspective, but that's also because I grew up in the perspective I grew up in. Now, it's also true that I could definitely be entirely wrong and that these people are, like, the good guys and that I'm the baddie. And that's probably, if it is true, it's
all
because
I'm
I
saying
have
is you just
my
don't
own...
know until you don't know if you don't know.
If you're burning down buildings with people inside of it, you're the baddie.
Well, yes,
No,
I would
it
agree
doesn't
with that.
mean-
But
it
there's
doesn't
other
matter if they
people
are
that
Nazis.
don't know. They don't know.
Like, if you're burning Nazis down during...
If you're burning the building down, then
With
you
Nazis
know.
down, you
okay?
know.
And that's you can't claim I don't know. But there's people on the internet that don't know. I didn't even know about the building.
You didn't?
No.
Okay, well, that happened.
Right. So that's the thing and I tend to try to keep myself pretty well informed.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is that the Black Lives Matter as the organization is directly responsible for all of that stuff happening if they don't try to stop it, which they don't.
And we got off on this tangent because we were talking about the military.
Yeah, because they are a
things.
military, and they are a militia. Whether or not they are organized and whether or not they are well trained, they are effective. They've gotten court cases passed the way they wanted to when they probably should have never been passed the way that it happened legally, basically by bullying the jurors into submission.
I'll just let this be all your view of the situation because I think some people don't have that view.
No, of course they don't, but I would argue that they're wrong, and we could have a debate with them if they want to show up.
Okay.
If you want to show up and you want to argue with me, please.
Do it. We like that.
And I am willing to be wrong. I'm obviously been wrong
and
before.
I tend to play devil's advocate with Danny a
Oh,
lot
well,
because
I should do that more often. The other way, but
right.
what I'm saying is that if your organization is the one that's like burning down, okay, so let's say the Capitol riot happened and that people were trying to murder people.
Okay.
Not just like people got killed.
Yeah.
People were
like
trying,
they were trying
to
to
murder
kill people.
Like
Yeah.
they
were coming in, they were going to hurt
weren't-
people, they were
yeah.
going to kill people. Yeah.
And they did. If they did actually do that.
Okay.
If they did actually like light bombs off.
Yeah.
Then a lot of the people who were involved in that would be unknowingly involved in that terrorist action. But none of that actually happened. No one brought weapons. I mean, they didn't bring guns, but they brought weapons. But they didn't bring guns like that was what was reported was wrong.
Right.
It was misinformation. And
there was a lot of misinformation.
And it was pretty much just a protest where like a couple of people
shoved their way into a building.
They broke windows.
They broke windows
and entirely disown. And I actually would disown breaking into the building.
They pushed a lot of people
and fighting cops.
People.
Disown that. Like
yeah,
it's terrible.
It's pretty intense, but
it's not as intense as it could be.
Like, no, it's not as intense as it could be. I mean, obviously.
No, it's not obvious. The way people were responding.
Okay, but still, there was a lot of just...
The way that people were responding to it, it is not obvious that it could have been worse.
Well, okay, so, I mean, it could have been worse. It could always be worse.
I mean, just look at, like, any protest that had happened the entire year before that happened.
Okay. So why are you talking about that?
Oh, I'm
what
just
about
saying,
those so the Capitol people, the Capitol rioters?
I was just saying that even they would be responsible for, if like the Capitol building caught on fire, because the people were literally trying to light it on fire, then everyone who was there and was aiding in that by fighting with the cops would be responsible for the fire.
Sure. Sure. I would agree
like
with
the people
that.
just sitting in the back waving flags because they're like, "Yay, America!" They would not be the
Are they
involved.
not responsible?
They're not responsible
But
because they're still just, "Yay, America!"
See, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying about the BLM people.
I see that's what you're saying, but I think
They are
there's
those
something
people
different.
in the back with the flags. They didn't know that those other people are shoving cops. They don't know the building's about to catch on fire. And then all of a sudden they see the building on fire and they're like, how did that happen? They had no idea.
The people who are just waving flags because they're proud to be Americans or whatever, and they're just like, yeah, whatever happens, whether Trump wins or Joe Biden wins, it doesn't matter to me. I'm just here for my president. Those people are not intent. Their intent is not to change the outcome of the election by being there. They're not trying to do anything.
What about
they're just
those
there
people
for the
that
party.
are like, they're just waving the flag of, yay, humanity. I want all people to be the same. I want all, or not the same, but I want
you're
people,
talking about the Black Lives Matter
I want
thing?
people to have equal rights.
Yeah,
I want people
those are
to be
different
equally
people,
cared
but they're
about.
not talking about Black Lives Matter. They might say Black Lives Matter. They might say, like, they might promote that
Right.
stuff. They might even wear the T-shirts. I'd be willing to wear the T-shirt, honestly.
There's people,
But-
so there's people that are like, yay, America, that might say, make America great again, that aren't actually MAGA people.
Yeah.
You know?
And,
It's the same thing.
Not
it's
really.
the same thing. That's what I'm saying.
No, if you're saying "Make America Great
But
Again,"
all
you're a MAGA person. Like, you're part of that movement.
All of that to say, we're talking about the militaristic influence
So
of these people.
It's already happened.
So there's already these like militias that can be hired under the guise of social justice movements. Is what you're saying.
Yeah, and they already have. But not just social justice movements. They can be, one day they could be hired under the guise of, like, if a YouTuber was really, at that point it would be bigger than YouTube, but like a influencer was super ticked with another influencer's community, and they just wanted to have a
Jeffree
war.
Star goes after what's his name?
I don't know who that is.
James Charles. They're just two makeup people.
Are they trannies?
World.
Because I think the
One of them is
names are
gay.
familiar.
But yeah, they're makeup people.
Okay.
They're famous YouTuber makeup
Yeah,
people.
so if they want to hire, like, a militia to attack each other one day, if they are if they have any political sway enough to do that, and maybe those militias would go at it. I'd imagine militias wouldn't be willing to die for this stuff unless you paid them a lot of money. Mm-hmm. But at one day,
they have a lot of money.
When people are rich enough to buy, like, militias like that, like, technically I think Elon Musk could fund his own army.
That's fun.
If he wanted to. Or groups of rich YouTubers or influencers together, like, could fund their own armies. And then it would just be internet nations is what that would be. And once there's that service of online subscription based militia for your influencer group or whatever, we have internet nations. That is the moment it becomes that. And I think the cryptocurrency will fuel that.
Yep, I think that was the final nail in the coffin that made me realize it could be possible.
Yep.
Because that I think,
and
that
that's
was
where
the
we were talking
block
about the
that I
Black
was
Lives Matter
missing.
thing.
Right. That was the block that I was missing. I was like, how do you can't just keep people from leaving your nation. There's no way to keep people from nation hopping or. I'm still confused.
It'd probably
about
be
how
more
do
like
you-
assassins than militaries.
That's what I'm thinking. But how do you also keep people from trying to be in multiple nations?
Well, they could be. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, if they're paying the taxes to their militias.
If they have the ability to pay taxes
if they're paying the subscription, like Netflix doesn't care if you watch Disney Plus, so long as you also pay for their subscription. They don't care if you don't watch anything they have, as long as you pay for the subscription. So, like, that's the...
I could see this getting really messy really fast, though, because imagine somebody just gets butt hurt and they suddenly decide their law is going to be, you're not allowed to be a part of this other nation, and all these people are already subscribed to both.
And then they'll just, they'll make choices.
They either pull out of one or the other, and then those people's militia just goes after them
Yeah,
for
that
pulling
that
out of the
happens.
nation.
That happens in real world or throughout history. It's happened whenever like someone was in another country. Like they weren't like they technically were paying taxes and they were
There's so
subscribed
many
because they
times.
were actually in like China or Japan, and then war starts.
Right.
Everyone evacuates.
True.
So you have to make that decision: are you going to stay in the country or are you going to leave?
Oh.
So that has always happened.
This is changing
It's just
the
going to be
whole landscape
it changes.
of our lives.
Well, it just changes how war is
It
conducted.
changed the
Potentially.
landscape to a completely digital landscape, almost.
Yeah.
That's just
Well, not-
weird.
Landscape, like I said,
Right.
a nation is different from a country. One day it might be
So
possible.
environment then.
It might actually be possible that one day that we do have a Ready Player One's like simulation situation, and then we could actually have wars without people dying, and we could decide things kind of like
How
like
many
the
lives
Olympics.
do you get? Game over.
But it would be like a digital Olympics almost.
Yeah.
But it would be more war based, and we can just test out war and say, hey, whose army would win? And then just say, let's go with the decision of that
But-
instead of actually fighting in real
Instead
life.
of actually having somebody get killed. But then what do you do when somebody, gets so mad they just actually go physically kill somebody?
Then they decide on how they're going to handle that
Then
situation.
you do real war.
That's assuming that legacy governments don't still exist, because they would always take care of that problem.
Yeah.
But if they don't exist because they've been usurped by this digital nation mentality, and this evolution of human psyche, collective psyche,
I wonder
Then-
how they would go away.
people stop paying their taxes because they pay for other people's taxes.
But I can't imagine and then everybody'd have to drop out of the military.
Well, let's say you lived in.
What's the oldest nation in the world?
It doesn't need to be the oldest. It needs to be the poorest. So let's imagine you lived in Venezuela.
Okay,
and you decided that you're an internet influencer in Venezuela, and then you create a subscription service online for all in Venezuelans, but not just Venezuelans, people throughout the world, and say,
these are my ideologies.
These
Do you
are-
want to subscribe
this
to
is the
me?
ideology of this nation, this internet nation.
Basically, entrepreneurs become kings.
They always have been.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
just-
you're right.
it's
You're
just-
right.
How war has been managed has been different. Like, technically, Columbus was never a king, but like the people who like settled like America were the governors, and they
Right.
were closest to the
They
king
treated
at the
him kinda
time
like
in the
that.
land.
Yeah.
They paid taxes to the King of England, but they've really got to do whatever they wanted here. And that's why they came here.
Right.
And so when people like Musk move to Mars, he can do whatever he wants. Like, as long as he can continue to fund what he's doing,
Right.
he can create his own government, his own laws. They can have their own constitutional republic, or they can have a monarchy. He could be king of a planet,
Yeah.
if he makes it. So now it would be funny if he called himself king for like a day and then actually tried to do something serious with it.
Yeah. I can't see him doing that. Just
I can
based on-
totally see him doing it.
Oh,
Like, I can see him like in a big king robe with a crown and like a scepter with the Doge dog on it. And he's just like sitting in a Tesla,
Doge
like in the back
dog.
of like the Tesla
And the back
Cybertruck.
of Tesla.
And he's just like, yeah,
I am the king.
I am the king of Mars.
Look at me. I am the king now.
Yep, he's got the Doge scepter.
Oh man.
But yeah, I can totally see him being king of Mars for like a day and then being like, okay, now I want to work.
I'm just trying to think about like the governments that are going to be the hardest to kind of give up their power.
Here's an interesting thing. Once
What about the Catholic Church?
some people actually think that the Catholic Church will be the first government of other planets, potentially.
I can see it.
But I don't think it's going to be a thing, because no one...
If they can get into the
Catholics-
cryptocurrency thing, they can figure out the cryptocurrency
Catholics
thing.
are not...
They can have a subscription.
So Catholics have a subscription. Technically
Yeah,
all
tithe.
denominations do
Yeah.
have that.
Yeah.
And they have their own governance. They have their disciplinary systems.
Yeah.
But That's an interesting thing about Protestants is technically we were part of a subscription religion. We were part of a nation.
Yeah.
The nation, the Holy Roman Empire. Like all of the Christians in Europe were part of it until the Protestants showed up, and they're like, even though they had their own countries, the Protestants showed up and they were like, we don't want to do this.
They're not doing this anymore.
I'm not paying indulgences so you can build big, pretty temples.
They are so pretty.
They are pretty.
They're very pretty.
But it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
And indulgences aren't biblical.
No,
So
they're not.
So people will object to things, and then they'll slaughter each other. Like good Christians.
Happy day. A good Christian. No, Lord. No, like not good Christians.
That was sarcastic.
Yes. There actually weren't too many Protestants that. Well.
Yeah, there's Protestant wars. They killed each other a lot.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Dang.
I can snap my toe.
Ew.
And hear these.
Buzz?
Yeah.
Fun.
It's weird.
So, anyway, all of that basically to say cryptocurrency is making it possible to... we started at 1, so almost 2.
Okay. Well, yeah,
which is about a normal length. But yeah, just a reminder, if you have any problems that you're thinking about solving, or you know somebody who's solving a problem in the world, whether that be technological, biological, agricultural, whatever, socially, whatever problem, whatever you're looking at, if you're looking for Bigfoot,
I should also clarify for anyone who is listening that when I was talking about holding people responsible, I meant morally, not legally.
Okay.
So, like, I was talking about whether or not someone was ethically responsible for something.
That's a good disclaimer to put on that.
Legally responsible and should be judged legally responsible. Mm-hmm. Like, of course, like, other people should not be... They're not, like, legally responsible for what happened to the Jews. The just normal German people.
Okay, so this is for all of those non-trolls who are not going to take our sound bites, isolate them, and make us say things that we never intended.
But it's actually, the only reason I would say that, to clarify that, it is, because I'm okay with people misunderstanding me. I'm not okay with people misunderstanding me and then misrepresenting me.
Right.
But, if they're going to do that anyway, maybe I'll get famous. Maybe maybe they will cancel me because of my, like...
your Hydra-looking...
My Hydra shirt.
It looks like... yeah.
And because I'm affiliated now with Jordan Peterson.
Marvel villain.
Jordan Peterson
you're a woke villain.
Jordan Peterson is the only real superhero. No, Jordan Peterson and Elon Musk. I don't know if they've ever talked to each other, but I want them to.
I'm sure they have. But either way, if you have a problem... you're interested in us talking about or looking into, send us an email at outrejournalism@outlook.com. We'll try to get in touch with you and tune back into the podcast next time to hear what other junk we can dig up from this crazy world.
Yeah, I wouldn't call anything we're doing here journalism yet. Journalism is this is just speculation and making content.
If you want us to do some journalism...
Yeah,
we'd like to do some journalism.
It's actually more fun than this.
And if you want us to just do some talking, we are pretty good at talking.
I don't know if we're good at it. We just like doing it.
Yeah. Well, you do. I mean, I like talking too, I guess. I'm doing too much of right now. Anyways, adios, my friends.